Hi, everyone. This is Rico Figliolini, host of UrbanEBB here in Atlanta, Georgia, just north of Atlanta, actually, a little smart city in the urban areas of Atlanta. There's a big show coming up. I have a great guest here that's going to be talking a bit about it. Shahin Zarrabi, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to meet you and talk a little bit about DreamHack.
Yeah, no, for sure. And congratulations on your newborn, nine week old, I think.
Yes, 9 weeks old. So yeah, I'm a little bit more tired than usual, but hopefully I can make it through this.
I think you'll be fine, and I think as your kid grows, maybe he or she will be into gaming as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that would be fun. So we're actually going to be talking about DreamHack Atlanta 2025. That's coming up October, November of this year. Actually, October 31st through November 2nd.
That's correct.
Right. So you're a VP there in the organization that runs DreamHack worldwide. You're based in Stockholm. That's where you're talking from, and you have a vision. Obviously, I mean, I think you've changed a few things, right? Over how long have you been doing this actually now?
So I've been working with DreamHack festivals for about 8 years now, but in this capacity, kind of overseeing all of the festivals globally for the last 2 years, basically. And yeah, definitely, there's been a lot of changes. I started out, kind of doing the digital side of things, and now kind of look over the entire thing. So yeah, there's been one or two changes across that time period.
I'm sure there has. The website's great, by the way.
Thank
And
you.
all the programming that I've seen, it's just phenomenal. It's almost, and the partnerships even. I think you all are doing some stuff with the Georgia Gaming Developing Association as well.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things going on this week. For that week that the show is in Atlanta at the Georgia World Conference Center, right?
Correct.
Now you've been an entrepreneur, an analyst, an esports journalist. You have a diverse background, I think, all somewhat related to the gaming field, right? Um, can you share, what aspects informed your job over the last 8 years? What brought you to this, and how did you evolve in what you're doing?
So it's a great question, one that I have to think of myself. But I think the kind of thread that goes through all of my experiences is that I've always wanted to create something that kind of appeals to a lot of people, that you can see a lot of people enjoy and experience, and improve on based on whatever it is. If it's a visitor at an event, or if it's a user of a platform, or if it's a gamer in a game, even, to see what they like, what they don't like, and experiment and tinker with that. So you're right. I mean, I started a company doing educational technology. That's not even slightly related to what I do today, right? But at the same time, it was about creating an experience that a group of people would go through, and taking care of that journey from start to end, right? Similarly, when I've worked with as an analyst, or in any other capacity as a journalist, it's all about creating a story, and taking the reader, visitor through that journey. And I think that's those experiences, even though they're diverse and not always related to what I do today, have definitely informed me in trying to create the best journey for our visitors.
And I can appreciate that because there's challenges and all that, right? I publish magazines, do podcasts and stuff, so it's content building, but it's not just content building, it's telling a story. And
Yeah.
when I went to DreamHack my first time, I just the diversity of programming, everything from board games, where so 200 people in a two or 300 people in a room playing board games, to bringing your own. I talked to parents that had a 13-year-old, I think, playing Fortnite in a BYOC, I think, bring your own computer format, and then of course all the gaming stuff with the pool of money. I mean, this year I think there's over $4 million in prizes. It's just phenomenal, the growth that I've seen. So, the vision's there, obviously. You have creators, artisans, you even have cosplaying programs and stuff. You have, so tell us a little bit, more broadly, a little bit about what you have, what people can expect coming back to DreamHack. What is coming back to DreamHack, and then tell us a little bit about what new stuff is coming.
For sure. So I think, for anyone who's visited DreamHack Festival before, you'll definitely see a lot of the same elements. We try to, look at DreamHack as a platform, right? Where we build the stages. We build what we call a creator hub, inviting creators. We build a big expo space. But the elements within it is usually from different types of partners, from communities, organizations, different games, and different people, really, right? So even though a lot of, if you look at a photo of the this year's event and last year's event, they'll look pretty similar. All of the content within it is quite different, right? And that's really what DreamHack is all about. We're creating a platform for these communities, partners, games to create something that's unique and that you want to come back to. Now, from a programming perspective, obviously we have a lot of esports. We had a lot of great partners that are exhibiting their latest kind of hardware and peripherals. On the creator side, we have some announcements to come with huge headline creators that will be on our stages and in our creator hub. So yeah, I'm excited to have all of that kind of be announced in the next couple of weeks. But definitely a lot of similar elements, but all new content, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you don't want to be stale, right? You want to be able to people coming back again and newbies coming back for sure, expecting not knowing what to expect for some. So you have hardcore competitive esports players coming back, obviously new ones getting into the game, if you will. The community focus that you have. I think there was when I was there. There was a panel, for example, that was content creators on Twitch, right? They were doing their games, and my daughter even does that sometimes. She plays enough now that she tries to stream some of her stuff. She's like low end, but she's playing stuff like Marvel Rivals and things like that. And she's coming to the show with me this year. She wants to see what that's about. So I can see that happening. Lots of newbies coming in. That don't even know some of the stuff that's happening. So, for example, the $4 million pool of money that's being spent on SNK World Championship. Some of that is old games, right? I mean, old gaming. How do you balance that? How does that work when you're talking about old titles and new titles like that? How do you keep that fresh or working?
So I think there are a couple of different dimensions you could look at when you look at the balancing act of what to bring to a show. I think on one side, we work very closely with the game developers and game publishers, right? And based on their insights into, this game is picking up again, or this is a new game that we have, or we really want to focus on esports within this game. We work with them to create the right experience for them. And you could look at it as if it's a new game, maybe you don't go all in, maybe you don't build a $4 million tournament straight off the bat, right? Instead, you start small and try to build a community. Whereas if it's something that's been repeatedly successful, maybe you go bigger on that. That's one dimension we look at. We work closely with those game developers and publishers on what esports to bring to each and every festival.
Okay.
And then I think the second one is about how do we maximize our reach? How do we make sure esports and competitive gaming is as accessible as possible for our visitors? And there we look at, okay, what would bring the most people some level of joy? For the hardcore competitive players, that's creating this huge tournament, huge prize pools, and it's going to be the professionals competing, right? But you're going to have 40, 50,000 people there over the weekend. So you need to create something where everyone, even playing something as easy as Mario Kart, for just the glory of it against your friends, that needs to be available as well. So we work along those dimensions to create something that works for everyone, for both players and visitors, for both beginners, for experienced pros, and that's kind of how we balance it out across our festivals.
Interesting. I didn't, until you started explaining, I didn't quite realize the way it works, right? You're building communities within different areas. you're working with companies individually to reach those communities, which is great. I mean, you're building, so you're not building, some of these conventions can go on year by year, panels change and stuff, but the whole idea of what you're doing sounds like to me that this community that you're building can evolve as it grows and can expand, because you're doing it in Stockholm, you just had one in Dallas, right, in May, I think.
Yeah.
So I can see the vision of that reach also, because these gaming developers, gaming companies, these things change over time. But you also have, so my son's like, my oldest, 31 years old. He loves playing some of the old games. It just reminds me. It's just a thing that just reminds me about the past of his childhood and stuff. So it's as well as playing the new stuff. Obviously, I have a younger kid that plays Battlefield 6. He just played the beta a few weekends ago, and I watched them on that. These games are just getting like unbelievably real looking, just the expanse of that. So I can appreciate where you're working hand in hand with some of these gaming companies. So, but what challenges then? What new challenges have you seen for this DreamHack for 2025? Are there any new challenges that you've had to overcome, or new things that you're bringing in that may need a second look of how you're doing it?
I think the biggest challenge, as always, which kind of grows year on year, is the kind of pace at which all of the entertainment verticals, not just gaming itself, but everything around it too, like the content creators, the wider pop culture segment, the pace at which it is growing and changing, especially through the use of short form content platforms like your TikToks, Instagrams, YouTubes, makes it so much harder for us who have a time-bound event, and we usually announce it 1 year out in advance, to lock in the right content for the visitors in that specific weekend. Right, that's definitely one of the biggest challenges. And so one solution to that we always work with is to go wide. Right, that way, if something completely bombs, something else might still work. But actually working closer with the game partners, working closer with the content creators, for example, is a way for us to solve this, because then we can try to be where the community is and keep a good relationship with everyone who's actually part of moving that community forward. That means also we can kind of grow along with that community, and we can make sure that they have the right things. If you look at our fighting games community competitions that we have at the moment, that's always a collection of different games. Riot Games is releasing 2XKO soon, and so we're bringing a 2XKO competition to the festival in order for people to kind of try that out and take part of that. That ensures we can stay relevant even though we can't predict the future.
Yeah, that sounds like a good testing ground too, right? A beta ground, if you will, because you have the community right there to be able to test some of these new games. So I can see how companies want that. Plus, the creator hub, the free play, the indie playground. I mean, you all are really moving towards almost like supporting the younger indie developers, right? Coming to board. So how is that experience doing that, bringing that type of support? What does that mean beyond, giving an indie developer a booth? I mean, are there other things that you do for them?
So we've always discussed how we can kind of build out that program and work more closely with indie developers across the year. We've had some initiatives where we, for example, have online Steam events where they get to promote their games before the show so people can try them out, or after the show, so that even people who can't come physically to the festival have a chance to try that out. We promote it for them. But I think really what we try to do is focus on where we're best, those 3 days where you can come to the festival and actually try it out. And our ambition with that is, if you look at a lot of different other conventions, what they do is obviously to sell out their space for the highest price. Now, I'm not going to lie, we're also a commercial entity, right? We're trying to make money in order to grow and improve our festival. But when it comes to indies, we've taken another approach where we want to work closely with them. We subsidize a lot of what they do, And the reason for that is because for our visitors who are already coming for a bunch of other reasons, that's something novel to them. They can try out new games, they can get new experiences, they can talk to the developers, and the indies who are usually not backed by huge companies or have a lot of capital, they get a very low barrier entry to meet a lot of visitors, to get feedback straight up at the show. And so that's, part of our DNA is to be community building, right? This is the easiest way to do that. And hopefully they grow along with us. So when they're, some of those grow big and become bigger games, then they remember, the start of their journey.
Yeah. That's what I love about DreamHack. It seems to be that community building, that ability to help. You're helping each other, really, right? That synergy of you help me, I help you a little bit. And you know what? You are a for-profit. Just listen, nonprofits should be profitable also, because eventually they go away otherwise, right? So there's a reason for that. But at least you're looking at long-term building. You're looking at that growth beyond where you are in Dallas and in Stockholm and in Atlanta, maybe, in supporting some of these global gamers, maybe even. Which is another aspect that I was curious about, because Stockholm, different culture, different place. Europe is very different to begin with. Is there, is there a difference between the two? Going from, let's say, European DreamHack to an American DreamHack, is different programming? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, like, the difference is definitely getting smaller and smaller, because we're all kind of sharing the same frame of reference through the use of social media and influencers and content creators.
Yeah.
But I don't think we'll ever get away from different countries, even different states within the same country being different. I think one thing that stands out is that the US is a huge country compared to Sweden and Stockholm, where here it's our home ground. We started the company here, right? And we're a big fish in a small pond. So we're the biggest kind of gaming and esports event you can go to. Now, in the US, although we've been there for quite a while now, we're still establishing ourselves. We're still redefining our identity and figuring out who we want to be to the American audience. The pillars are all the same, but definitely the games are different. The creators are different. And here, we're not a small fish, but we're definitely not the biggest fish. We want to be the biggest fish. We want to make sure that there is some experience that is different to your traditional PAX or Comic-Con, that cookie cutter events that have done their thing for a long time, but that we believe we can do better.
Yeah, for sure. It's very different. I mean, I've been to Dragon Con, some of the other ones, and when it mentioned DreamHack to people, they're like, "What's DreamHack?" So well, it's the biggest gaming convention in the United States. And so, yeah, I mean, it will take time, right, to grow that. Even people in gaming, well, casual gamers, don't know about DreamHack. And when they do find out about it, they immediately ask me for the website address and all that. So how do you choose your titles for tournaments? How do you build that, I don't know, the global qualifiers or the money pool? I mean, how do you get all that together? That got to be challenging. $4 million is not a cheap prize there. Pool of money.
No, so as I mentioned a little bit earlier, as we work closely with the game publishers and developers, there are a lot of things that we kind of work out with them, and that they have much more insight than we do on our own, right? They might know their specific community a lot and are saying, hey, we should do a specific type of competition or tournament here. There are other competitions, tournaments, experiences that we build that are much more, operated and entirely produced by us without any input or without any collaboration with the game developer and partner, right? And so, in those cases where we work with a partner, it's relatively easy because they can tell us exactly how it should work. We give them feedback, and then we land somewhere in the middle, right? But in those, experiences that we try to build ourselves, it can definitely be a hit or miss. And there you have to have experts internally that are out there on social media platforms, on your Reddits, Discords, Twitters, Instagrams, in order to figure out, okay, what's growing, where's there a gap? Where could we fill a
Right.
gap where someone else isn't doing anything. So it's definitely not easy. I would love for us to be able to say there's a formula to it. But to be honest, if you go in and look at the number of competitions that we have at any one festival, you'll see that it's a high quantity, and a reason for that is because we want to hedge our bets basically, and then we can learn on that and improve it for next year.
Yeah. Um, beyond the gaming, the contests and all that stuff, there's other venue challenges, right? How do secure, how do you get enough space or quantify that space? Internet LAN infrastructure, all that stuff, because it's not your typical show. You really need, the people are going to be streaming from it. There's technical demands, exhibitors, live content, bands. I think do you have some bands there as well, I think? Or maybe
This year we don't, but we've had them in the past. Yeah.
So how do you handle those challenges? The logistics part of it, if you will.
No, so part of the one of the great things of being part of a bigger group that does DreamHack festivals globally is that we can have a team that they don't only do one event a year in one venue in the same city, right? So we have a great team of about 20 to 30 core contributors, and then we're part of a company that's much bigger where we have support services, right? And so us learning about each other's events, visiting them, supporting them at different events, make sure we get more iterations of events than just once a year. That lets us kind of improve our operational procedures so much more faster and get best practices, even though some people might have not done specific tasks before. There are a lot of experts internally, whether it's logistics or security or catering, furnituring, programming, content, and things like that. So part of the reason we can do this so well, and our visitors tell us every year our net promoter scores are very high, is because we've built this experience in a lot of different iterations. There's been times where we've definitely learned from mistakes, but we don't need to wait a year in order to kind of correct them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So segue a little bit into what you mentioned before too, when you were talking about supporting indie developers, there's a balance, right, of what you do outside the festival and stuff. In the same way, live streaming, right? So you want people to have an in-person experience. So do you balance any of that live streaming online audience with what you're doing in person? Because some of it I think gets streamed out as well, depending on what it is, right?
Yeah, so I would say out of the core pillars that we have at any festival, the expo, the creators, the esports, the creators and esports by nature are things that go out live somehow, either through live streaming or asynchronously through posting content after the show or during the show, right? So it's definitely a huge part of what DreamHack is, because everything that happens there would be enjoyed by someone online as well, especially people who can't make it to any DreamHack festival or really any other live gaming experience. I would say yes. I mean, part of our thing is to make a great physical experience, so we definitely want people to come to the show. Mm-hmm. However, it's there's millions, tens of hundreds of millions of gamers out there. We wouldn't be able to house them in any venue in the world. So through the esports competition streams that go out live, or through the content creators that we invite and who stream out live, people all around the world can definitely tune into DreamHack in different ways.
Okay. Going a little bit more wide on as far as some of the other things as well. I mean, I think so. You have something called Siege College Fair, which is part of that indie development thing, I guess. That's aimed at high school. I just want to point out a few of these things that are aimed at high school kids that want to become gamers, developing or game developers, if you will. That's kind of cool to be able to do that, right? Are there other similar programs that you want to share that maybe we didn't touch on yet?
So I think alongside that, one of the things that we're trying to figure out is, what kind of tracks or themes can we find for every festival? So for next year, we're going to have a much more kind of formalized version of that. But one of the programs that we definitely have at every festival in Atlanta as well is our creator program. So at any DreamHack festival, we have about between 500 to 1,000 invited content creators, right? And when you hear content creator or influencer or streamer, you might think of the biggest ones, the ones that have millions of viewers and followers and fans and need bodyguards and are earning a lot of money. But really, we have the long tail of creators as well, because we want to make DreamHack a very diverse platform where even the streamers that have 100 followers can come and meet their community or build their community and meet other content creators. And so we created a program a couple of years ago that we're now kind of bringing back for every festival, where content creators, both aspiring and big ones, can apply to enter, which gives them a lot of access to parts of DreamHack that isn't necessarily available to the general attendee.
Wow, that is kind of cool. And God knows there's a lot of content creators here in Atlanta in the metro area, so that would be fun. You all are also into, there's something I found online there that you're a bit on the fashion side too, with Pixel Grind collection. Is that something that you all are putting together, or is that related to you somehow?
Yeah, so I mean, we have DreamHack merchandise, right? And but funnily enough, we're trying to create an experience where you could engage and have authentic experiences. But a big reason why people come to the shows is also because they want to bring something home. They bought something, memorabilia or merchandise, and so. Right. DreamHack, obviously, we have our own merchandise line. Our latest one is the Pixel Grind one you mentioned. Right. We also have very Atlanta specific designs that we're bringing to the festival, only available there. So no, for sure. I mean, we're trying to make sure that if you really like DreamHack, you can always bring a part of it home, and that's definitely part of that strategy.
That's cool. And I imagine there's going to be quite a few metro area people coming, and even people from outside, the Southeast, and even from North coming down here. But obviously, you're also going to have maybe international visitors as well coming here. So how do you handle that? Participants that have to, traveling here from different countries, from Asia and Europe and stuff, that may be attending. How do you attend to those international players or attendees?
Yeah, so you're right. The bulk of visitors is definitely from the region we're in. In the U.S., usually we have visitors from all different states. I think in the past 3 years, every festival has had at least one visitor from every state in the country. But obviously, it's an international event as well, because a lot of the things that go on at the festival are only happening there throughout the entire year, and sometimes throughout multiple years. And so depending on the programming, anywhere between 5 to 20% of our visitors are international. Some of them are invited players and teams that are participating in different competitions. Some of them are just people who want to come and watch the show. And for us, the way we've been working with that is to, first of all, go to places where we believe we can welcome a lot of international visitors. Atlanta is an international travel hub, even though you might, not think of it as the first city when you think travel from outside the States into the States. It's actually a very accessible and easy to get to city. Lots to offer culturally as well. But then second is also information and communication from our side on where to stay, how to get there, and that it is available to international visitors as well.
Cool. Just for anyone that wants to attend and stuff, there's different levels of ticketing also, like day, weekend, and such. So, if anyone wants to just come for the day, there's different ways of doing that. What have I forgotten maybe or not brought up as we're getting towards the end of our podcast here with you, Shahin, that you'd want to share that we didn't touch on?
I think we've done a great job of capturing a lot of important elements. I always say, we can sit here and try to talk about DreamHack as much as possible, and you have the video reel playing in the background as well, but the only way to experience it is on site. And as you say, we have different ticketing options to make it as accessible as possible. The one thing I kind of leave you with is, one thing that I think DreamHack does the best is, despite we have great programming, there's a lot of things you can do. But really, the one thing that people come for is to have a place to hang out with like-minded people. It's the one thing that people kind of tick box the most in our post festival surveys is that, hey, I just came out to hang out with friends or meet new like-minded people, right? We're just uniting people around a common passion. It's just as a music festival. You go there for an act maybe, but you leave there with memories of having fun. You might have, might have not even been in front of a stage. It might have been while you were eating food and sharing a good laugh, right? And so, that's at the end of the day what we're trying to build, just that platform for people to create memories. So, there's a lot of good content. Look at it at the website, but bring a couple of friends and you're good to go, really.
Yeah, I think just to when I was there I think it was last year I was there, just a variety of different people, diversity, age groups. I mean, can't tell you how many parents that I saw there with their 12, 13-year-olds playing Fortnite. I think there was a competition that year with that from out of town, bringing their own computer and stuff. And older people, in the game, granted some of them also young people in the game board area. But I mean, I play Call of Duty Mobile and I love playing that. And hopefully get into Battlefield 6. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I'm not quite into Fortnite. My daughter's into Marvel Rivals, so she's trying to get me online with that. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. But great experience. I think anyone, any age group, if you're interested, just even mobile gaming or PC gaming or a platform, this is the place to be. So do appreciate your time, Shahin Zarrabi. I appreciate you spending some time from Stockholm with us. I know it's the end of the day there, but thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Hang in there for a minute as we sign off. You've been listening to Rico Figliolini and Shahin Zarrabi from Stockholm about DreamHack this year on UrbanEBB. So check it out, coming October 31st through November 2nd. Tickets are available now. Go online. I'll have stuff in the show notes that you can see as well. But thank you for being with us.